Ahem! Ahem! Two idiots are reading the SCP files over the intercoms. Please cover your ears and await further instructions.
Welcome to Discovering SCP, the only podcast on the internet that has me, Tanhony, and my good friend from Britain, Darnell.
What's up, guys? Tee-hee, tally-ho. I've got a cup of tea here and I'm ready to go. Let's
Badass!
go.
I love SCP! I love Jeff the Killer and Slenderman and all that shit.
I really love Siren Head. He's my favorite one.
Okay, that's too far. Siren Head is not an SCP. I don't know if you were aware.
Neither is Jeff the Killer.
I don't know if you're aware, but Siren Head is not an SCP, and I'll thank you not to say that again on my podcast.
Okay.
Our
Well,
podcast.
maybe I should just tell the audience what you were telling me before the recording.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking
Say
about.
it. I'll quit it out.
You want me to... You don't have time. We're
You
recording.
you have no power here.
We're recording this the day before. You don't have time to cut it out.
So, why are we here? We're not here to just ramble on for a few hours, despite what the viewers may think.
That's what you think. That's exactly what I'm here for.
Okay, how about I just kill you right now?
Yeah, go for it. You can try, but I'm
So-
stronger than you.
I'm glad you asked, Darnell. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 SCPs.
Count them 4!
And you want to know the theme? There isn't one! Let's get into it!
Oh, you hear that, guys? He's angry.
I'm not angry. I'm infurious. Infurious? What the fuck?
Infuriated?
Yeah, this is a new emotion. I've invented it today.
So much anger has welled up in his heart, he had to make a new word.
I've activated my carnage form.
Carnage form! Like in fucking like the Fire Emblem SMT game.
Exactly like that, yeah.
Tanhony becomes an idol.
Oh, no, actually, I wouldn't want to be part of that industry. It's incredibly exploitative.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get started. What's the first one?
You want to know the first one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have it right here. Here is the
I
link.
believe you.
It is SCP-1377.
Oh, you screwed up, Tan. If you had gotten us 1337, it would have been Leet.
Yeah, but I like to have funny and cool things on my podcast.
But Leet is funny and cool.
If you're 10. Are you 10?
I'll kill you.
So this one is called Automaton Parliament.
Oh, now I suddenly know why it's your favorite.
And it's by Kalinin.
It's got Automata in it, like your favorite game. Who's it by again?
Kalinin.
Okay, good, because the account is deleted, which is sad. Does he have a new account, or did he just quit SCP?
He has a new account.
Cool. Okay.
Let's get right into it.
Go for it.
Item number, SCP-1377. Object class Euclid. Special containment procedures. The energy level has gone so way down once I started reading it.
Well, I don't have anything to say about the item number object class.
Instances of -01 has been preserved after initial intake and observation in the C wing of the Site-23 morgue, which has been repurposed for containment protocols and retrofitted with necessary security infrastructure. Access to O1 instances for experimentation requires written authorization from the Research Director and the Cybernetics Initiative Committee.
Oh my god, is this zombie cyborgs?
During the appearance of a new iteration of -01, designated liaisons from security organizations responsible for national legislature will contact the Research Director immediately.
National legislatures?
The RD will then relay instructions to NTF Kappa 71, Roberto's Rules of Order,
Sounds like a name you would make up.
which will either... it's probably a reference to something, but I don't know what it is, which will either neutralize and contain -01 directly, or direct Foundation security assets in closest proximity to the event to do so.
Let me look up Roberto's Rules of Order.
Please do. Please do. What does it mean, Darnell?
It's a book title. No, there's Robert's Rules of Order, which is a manual of parliamentary procedure.
Oh, that's probably what
governs
it's
most
referenced to.
organizations with boards of directors. Yep.
So, due to the politically sensitive nature of SCP-1377 events, use of amnestic drugs on witnesses during subsequent information control efforts is to be minimized. See Protocol 1377 Solon documentation for more details. All information control procedures related to the SCP must be approved by the Research Director prior to implementation.
Man, I've never seen a special containment procedures drop so far down. We started with cyborg zombies and we ended with, like, government bodies. That's so much less cool. But I'll give it a chance, just for you.
So, description. SCP-1377 is a phenomenon affecting world legislative bodies. Beginning in 1952 and continuing into the present day, a humanoid automaton of varying physical characteristics, hereby referred to as an instance of Dash-01...
Wait, is this just a very long way of saying that politicians are robots?
Well, maybe we'll read through the article and then we will find out.
Good point.
Will make its way from an unknown origination point to an official session of a national legislative body, present a set of forged credentials identifying itself as a member of that body, and attempt to address the chamber. In all cases, the forged credentials have identified Dash-01 as a representative of a fictitious constituency within that nation's jurisdictions.
Oh, that's kind of hard to say. Try saying that 10 times fast. Fictitious constituency.
Examples include impersonations of an MP of the United Kingdom Parliament from Lochbarrow, a Chilean deputy representing the Camino...
Desconocido
region, a Botswana Assembly member from Nwande West, and a United States Senator representing the state of Keswick.
Just so you know, Tian, I know you're not from Britain. Keswick isn't a real state.
I'm not from Britain, you say?
No, America.
You said Britain.
No, I said America.
Well, the record will show. You said you're not from Britain, so you wouldn't know, but...
Yeah, you're not from Britain, so you wouldn't know, but there's no United States state called Keswick.
Well, there's no United States, it's just a colony that's got a bit uppity, in my opinion. But let's continue!
As Hamilton taught you nothing.
It taught me to... Dash-01 instances are composed of living organic tissue and bear a loosely analogous resemblance to Homo sapiens. However, the anatomy of Dash-01 varies significantly from that of humans. Specimens possess musculature and connective tissues similar to H. sapiens, but lack any discernible internal organs, instead featuring a indeterminate fleshy mass where a human's thoracic cavity would ordinarily be. Additionally, Dash-01 specimens have a skeletal structure composed of tissue resembling hardened cartilage.
So are they really robots then? They seem more like just creepy humans.
Well, they're automatons.
I guess.
The word robot has not been said. This is to believe...
Well, that's... What else does automaton mean?
An automatic... Well, a machine
like
can be made
like
of
a golem? Like a flesh golem?
Yeah, I guess so. This is believed to account for Dash-01's erratic and halting movements. DNA analysis confirms that Dash-01 matches no biological organism currently known to the Foundation. Because of the lack of data on these specimens prior to their emergence, development of these organisms is poorly understood. However, each instance has ceased life function approximately 12 to 18 hours after emergence. Currently, 27 instances of the SCP have been documented in 24 nations since the first known occurrence on 04/23/1952. All instances have been recovered and taken into Foundation custody, with the exception of SCP-1377-01.14, see Incident 1377-1. If allowed to proceed into the legislative chambers at which the specimen emerges, Dash-01 will make a speech. The content of the speech has varied greatly between instances of Dash-01. The first observed occasion consisted of Dash-01.3 vocalizing a series of static-like screeches and electronic tones. 01.7 addressed the Supreme People's Council of South Yemen with an 8-minute imitation of aggressive hooting noises, typically made by gorilla barangay. And most recently, 01.27 was documented at the German Reichstag, engaging in vocalizations that, while resembling the sound of human speech, contained no discernible linguistic structure or pattern. I like how it's like getting closer to an actual speech there.
Yeah.
So I like this one.
I really don't, which is weird because we usually agree. It just kind of lacks any substance for me. It doesn't have a theme. It doesn't really tell a story.
Wait, kind of does.
And it doesn't even have the whole... I thought it was at least just trying to make a really overcomplicated jab of like politicians or robots, but it doesn't really delve much into the automatons other than they live for a little bit, they do something weird, they're a politician, then they leave. Kind of... I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that you're bad for liking it.
Well, there is definitely a story here.
What's the story?
Well, over time, someone's sending these to try and communicate with world governments. Starting off with these shitty robots that just make screeching noises. Then we're getting like actual animal noises with the later ones. And then the recent one is actually making human speech but makes no sense. So it's getting progressively more and more advanced here as they adapt to humans.
I guess, but they're still coming from fake nations and they expire after several hours. It sounds more like they're just trying to make fun of political mishaps that have happened in the past with the whole kind of a linguistic structure pattern. Because
I don't agree with you at all there.
That's fair. I don't know. I just don't see it.
Well, I feel like you're ignoring... it's pretty much stated at the end there. With the progressive... Asho-free screeching.
I get it, but
7.
it's just kind of thrust there at the last minute, and it doesn't really, build any sense of impending dread or like reason to worry.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to worry. It's just an interesting thing, I think.
That's fair. Like I said, we can have different opinions. I'm not really a fan of this one. I'd probably give it like a 3 or a 4. What about you, though? You seem to like it. What would you rate it?
8, 7.
Well, we don't agree on everything, and that's fine. Some people like that.
Podcast is over now.
Yeah, podcast.
By
By the way, no hard feelings meant to the writer at all. Just my personal opinion. And if it makes you feel any better, Tanhony's opinion is probably worth way more than mine on this site. So, what is the next one you've got for us?
SCP-1500. And this one is called Zachary Callahan. And it's written by Anaxagoras.
Anaxagoras, that sounds familiar. Have we done one of his before?
I believe we have read one of those before, yes.
Which one did we read of his? I remember that name. It's very distinctive.
I can't remember. This is episode 20, so...
Right, it was one of the earlier ones. At first I thought it was short, but I see there's a little clearance thing you can click. Alright, dope.
Okay, let's get into it. Item number, SCP-1500. Object class, Sapphire. Special containment procedures. SCP-1500 is to be kept in a modified humanoid containment cell in Site-17. The chamber should be lit with grow lights that are to be on at all times.
Oh, is this a tree ant?
Should a light burn out, an automated system has been set up to replace the bulb. The floor of the chamber is to be lined with soil. Collected rainwater, laced with clays and nutrients, is to be pumped into the cell no fewer than 2 times per week. To prevent damage to the SCP, no personnel is to be allowed into its containment cell under any circumstances, and no security cameras are to be placed in the cell. To prevent light contamination, the cell is to have no windows.
Okay, this is interesting to me because they don't want light. They don't want light contamination, though plants normally want light. They talk about no security cameras at all, so this makes me think maybe less like tree ant or plant thing, and more something that's attuned to nature, because those are things that nature doesn't like because they make it less pretty. Just a very. I love guessing with the special containment procedures. That's what I'm going to lock in. I'm locking that in.
Description: SCP-1500 is a humanoid that demonstrates vegetal characteristics. It is capable of photosynthesis due to a
Oh, hey! Just like the stairwell.
Oh, yeah, this is the sequel.
They're both capable of photosynthesis.
She breathes through her skin.
Due to gradual replacement of melanin in its skin with chlorophyll. If left in one place for an extended period of time, SCP will extend thin fibers into the ground that seek out soil and draw nutrients and water from it. I can relate to that.
So kind of more like a dryad than a tree ant.
What's the difference?
Well, a tree ant is a big fucking tree. A dryad is like, usually in mythology, like a plant woman who is bound to some sort of thing but can become a plant.
Sounds fake, but okay. During the course of its containment... What a hoax. SCP-1500 has become steadily more plant-like. As of 1/15/20 blank, the SCP has reported great difficulty in moving on its own. An examination has revealed that cellulose now surrounds many cells in its body.
Ooh, alright, so just a quick lesson. We have little fleshy walls around our cells because we're animals, but plants have cellulose. It's like a very rigid cell wall. So if a lot of her cells were cellulose, she wouldn't be able to really move. Which explains the great difficulty in moving. I like this. Yay, bio.
Due to its transitional state, it is extraordinarily fragile and is left to be undisturbed to prevent damage. I'm inventing so many new words.
Tanhony's really on the ball today. We should get a dictionary and start writing these down.
I'm like Shakespeare.
That should be the next contest. So we should write down all the times you flung a word.
You need to use these words in an SCP that I have made up.
No. Someone has to write like their own definitions for the new words that have been mispronounced. Like what's fragile mean?
At the time of original containment, SCP-1500 was a somewhat overweight Caucasian male named Zachary Callahan. Well, it feels bad that they have to specify that. He came to the attention of the Foundation when he was hospitalized after a blood test revealed abnormal sugars more commonly found in tree sap. He agreed to Foundation containment upon discovery of a buildup of chlorophyll in his skin. The SCP proved at peace with his condition and requested to be left alone to finish his transformation. Attempts to discover the origin of its anomalous properties have thus far proven fruitless. So that's a pretty good article.
Yeah, I like this one, and there's more, it seems.
Oh, alright, yes, there's more. Let's click it.
Oh no. I see Object Class Keter and I'm
Item
nervous.
number SCP-1500. Object Class Keter. Special containment procedures. SCP-1500 is to be kept in a modified humanoid containment cell in Site-17. The cell is to be soundproofed and to have no windows. To prevent them from being affected by SCP-1500, no personnel are to be allowed into its containment cell under any circumstances, and no security cameras are to be placed in the cell.
Okay, so far so good.
A false containment document for SCP-1500 is to be established, with the intent of discouraging further investigation or rescue attempts. In the event of an attempted containment breach, all involved are being terminated. All personnel experiencing persistent headaches or found to have been affected by the SCP will be transferred away from Site-17.
So he's doing something to try and make them break him out.
Yeah, so we've got hoaxed with the first article here.
Yeah, oh shit.
That was all bullshit. So this is the real article.
Maybe this is an update because it said he requested to be left alone to finish his transformation.
Yeah, but it also says as part of the containment procedures, a false containment document for the SCP is to be established.
Oh!
Which we just read.
I get it. Sorry, I'm a little off the ball. I'm a bit tired. That's clever.
Description. The SCP is a featureless humanoid with smooth greenish-grey skin and a highly distended abdomen. Its limbs are long and multi-jointed. Its skin is metallic in texture and very durable, demonstrating a tensile strength of about 1.2 gigapascals. Though it has no visible sensory organs, it apparently possesses senses roughly equal to that of a human. It cannot speak and does not need to eat, breathe, or sleep. Any human within line of sight of the SCP experiences headaches, nausea, and a feeling of fear. These gradually increase for an amount of time typically between 200 seconds and 530 seconds, until the subject loses consciousness for approximately 15 seconds.
Ugh.
Upon awakening, the subject retains no memory of their previous time exposed to the SCP, and thereafter perceives the SCP as a Caucasian human male named Zachary Callahan.
That's bizarre! You know what, though? That might be a weird... You might be able to take something from this thing to use as an amnestic. But then again, the last time they tried to use an SCP as an amnestic with the dog things, didn't go so well.
Agent Michael got involved.
Yeah, he had to intervene. Agent Michaels, what'll you do if the dogs go bananas?
I'll have to get involved.
Oh, it's like that picture on Twitter. Did you see that meme the other day of like the worlds colliding? It was like, what would you do if this happens?
I think I've seen that, yeah. Subjects' memories are altered to include the SCP, usually as a friend from childhood or early adulthood. Subjects are also capable of communicating with it. No attempts to reverse this change have proven effective to date. Though amnestics are able to remove memories of the SCP, albeit at a reduced success rate, affected individuals continue to perceive it as human in any future interactions.
So this is interesting to me, because we've been shown that amnestics are really fucking strong. They can even help you forget about like the God Angel thing and the SCP-001 proposal. They can help you forget all sorts of things. But this SCP can even persist through those amnestics.
Well, you do forget about it, but the effects remain, I guess.
But still, that there's a lingering effect is pretty neat. That makes it very stand out to me.
It's pretty strong. This guy is powerful.
This guy is pretty strong. I'll have to use all my best cards.
My amnestic technique, it didn't work. Who is this guy? Oh, we need to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Yu-Gi-Oh!
I watched it like 10 times.
Oh.
I'd be willing to rewatch it with you. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid.
Let's watch it with our viewers. Maybe at another time, though.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Group watch!
Discovering Yu-Gi-Oh!
Discovering the Millennium items.
Addendum 1500-4. Recent developments suggest that the SCP is able to affect people over long distances. In a recent speech, Senator Armstrong alluded to a fishing trip he went on in his youth with a Zach Callahan.
Senator Armstrong.
A background check revealed no persons by that name of the appropriate age living near Senator Armstrong in the 1960s, and the senator was reported as having suffered a crippling migraine at a dinner party the week before.
That is pretty menacing. I wish we had an idea of how far the range was between where he spoke and where the facility was.
Addendum-7. Persons recently affected by the SCP have placed it in a more prominent role in their memories than previously observed. Rather than an old friend, SCP-1500 has often assumed the role of a parental figure, a former love, or a long-lost relative. In all cases, affected individuals report that they associate it with protection and adoration.
Here's something interesting, and there's no proof for this in the article, but what if it's infectious? Like, what if people who have seen it and feel that way when they meet people, those people feel as though they know him as well?
Maybe.
A little seed in the back of their mind. And get it? It's like planting a seed because he's also a plant thing.
Addendum-20. As of 8/1/20 blank, an estimated 23,000 people across the world have been affected by the SCP. Of possible note is that the SCP is disproportionately targeting political or military figures and Foundation personnel. Upgrade aid to Keta requested.
I wonder what the fuck it's planning.
Let me out.
I like this one a lot. This is very cool. I like the little biology factors in the first part. I like that it psychs you out, and that the Foundation itself tries to justify the Zachary Callahan thing in the file, maybe to prepare people ahead of time by already giving them a memory of him. I like that it persists through amnestics. It's just really cool, and there's a little bit of mystery. And like, what is it planning, right?
Yeah.
Because it hasn't actively done anything bad. Like, sure, we contain it, we are careful, but it doesn't mention any instances where, like, it fucking speared someone or tried to break out very forcefully. So, what's it doing in there? I like this. I want to give it a 9 out of 10. What's Zach up to?
What? What's Zach up to?
Exactly. I gave it an upvote. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really like this one.
Exactly? Exactly?
Exactly.
Whoa! What's Darnell? Can you hear that?
What?
It's everyone's favourite segment, the plug zone. So we're back with the plug zone, everyone.
Oh my god! I was not informed of this segment, by the way.
What do you mean?
I was not informed of the plug zone.
Well,
what's your plug?
Well, I didn't think I'd get this far, so I'm trying to find something that I want to plug.
Are you trying to plug your own book again, even though you already do it every day in the channel?
Well, now that you mention it, I have been recently writing... There's a web serial upcoming from Old Tanhony. It should be around the next couple of weeks for on one of those big sites where you put them. It's called April Space. I'll probably throw a link at it through several different mediums, so check it out when it comes about.
And if you never learned how to read, like Tanhony, you could also listen to the voice readings we're going to be doing on the channel.
Yes, exactly. I'm converting it to a me channel.
Yes.
So, whoa! The trapdoor's opening, Darnell. It's throwing us out of the plug zone.
Oh no, there's sharks in here. But wait, there's more. I have something to plug.
You have something to plug too? There's a rope ladder. I'm climbing back up into the plug zone, Darnell.
I climbed back up. All right, thank God.
Roll a d20 to see if you can do that.
Hang on, I don't have it. All right, that's
was that a 18. Fucking brick?
I don't have my dice on me. I just flipped my phone.
You did it.
All right, yes, I do have something to plug. Actually, let me just put this into the outlet, and okay, I just needed to plug in my router. Sorry.
Let's get back to the podcast.
Yes, we have a third SCP to get to. Oh, that was the worst skit of all time.
Let me get the link. So, how do you feel about the stock so far, Darnell?
How do I feel about what?
The SCP so far. Have you enjoyed the last one?
I enjoyed the last one a lot. The first one, not so much, but you liked it, and maybe I'm just too tired to fully appreciate it. But, I didn't hate it.
And here's our third one. This is SCP-1422, the Yellowstone Anomaly.
Alright, and who is this by?
This is by CWW.
Nice.
Let's get into it.
This one's neutralized.
Item number, SCP-1422. Object class, neutralized/phenomenon. See Addendum-3. I've not run into that before.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
So we also have an image here.
Read all these. Hold on, I thought you already read these. How could you have not read into it before if you read this one?
We have an image on the page here. A map of Yellowstone National Park.
Hold on, did you just reveal to me in the audience that you don't screen these?
Map of Yellowstone National Park retrieved from the US National Park Service website. Click to enlarge, and you can actually do it. Wow, Wiki.Show is incredible. Huh?
All right, where should I be looking on this map?
Well, it's just a map. There you go.
Well, is it the white square? Oh, there's two white squares.
It's just a map.
There's three white squares.
It's just a map. There's no specific part you want to look at.
Okay.
Special containment procedures. All information on the SCP is restricted to personnel with Level 4 operational clearance. As of March 18, 2009, all personnel have been informed of Yellowstone National Park's existence, and personnel with insufficient clearance have had their memories of the SCP removed. See Task Force LF4's Charter for Information on Foundation efforts to identify the causal agent of the SCP. The identification of this agent is of high priority. Mm-hmm. So, any ideas so far?
No, normally, I mean, to be fair, this is an extremely short special containment procedures.
Okay.
But if I had to guess, it's encrypted, maybe?
Okay, let's get into it. Description. SCP-1422 was an anomalous phenomenon that, prior to July 9th, 2007, prevented all Foundation personnel, including conscripted individuals such as D-Class personnel and jointly employed personnel, from learning of the existence of Yellowstone National Park. Footnote, a national park in the United States established in 1872. Each year, it is visited by over 2 million individuals from many nations.
I'm just imagining that the SCP Foundation was really embarrassed by this, so they try to like make this more eerie. Like if this was a documentary, they'd show a clip of Yogi Bear like glitching out. So can't say the name.
The existence of the SCP has been confirmed through several methods. In a 2008 survey of over 5,000 Foundation personnel, 0 expressed knowledge of the park. This includes personnel who have lived in Wyoming for extended periods of time, personnel who consider themselves to be avid travelers and or naturalists, and 3 personnel embedded in the United States National Park Service.
So they really should know, of
Yes.
all people.
National Park Service records do not show any purchases made by Foundation personnel within the Yellowstone National Park, nor do they show purchases of permits or reservations of any kind by Foundation personnel. Purchases made by immediate family members of Foundation personnel are present, but at lower than expected numbers.
I was just going to make a comment about that. Because I imagine these agents are away for a while, right? So this woman, she's been working at the Foundation, and she comes home, and her husband is like, "Hey, I took our daughter to Yellowstone," and she backs up against the wall, like, "What did you say? What? It's impossible. The archives."
The archives are incomplete.
Yeah.
The internet browsing histories of all Foundation-owned computers have shown a complete lack of searches directly relating to Yellowstone National Park. Footnotes.
There's another footnote.
Example, Yellowstone National Park, Old Faithful, Hayden Geological Survey, etc.
Oh, Old Faithful is so pretty. We should see Old Faithful.
What's that?
It's a really big geyser that blows every now and then, like pretty far in between. It's super beautiful. It's like this.
Oh, where's that?
It's in Yellowstone National Park. Oh no.
What?
No, wait, that makes no sense lore-wise. It's been neutralized. Nice try.
I'm from the past, you fool!
And here you find yourself in our future.
And, relative to search histories obtained from non-Foundation sources, a lack of searches tangentially relating to the park prior to July 9, 2007. The Foundation possesses no documentation that refers to Yellowstone National Park dated earlier than July 9, 2007.
That's especially funny to me because depending on how long the Foundation's been around based on what canon you accept, that means they were literally around when the park was made and they still didn't know about it.
Interviewed personnel have either stated that they had no reason to pay attention to the area of the United States in which Yellowstone National Park is located.
Okay, to be fair, why would anyone pay attention to Wyoming?
Or could not recall what, if anything, was located in that area.
If I could help you, Tan, since you're from Britain, Wyoming is like our Luton.
Oh, I
Nobody
see, I
cares
see.
about Wyoming. Yes.
Well, you mean, yeah.
Yeah. Except no one lives in Wyoming. It's the least populated state. It's really small.
Old Faithful lives there.
Yeah. Well, it's not small size-wise, but just no one lives there because it's really windy and there's nothing there.
Several were able to recall conversations or events in which the park would most likely be mentioned, but was not. I will not be saying the full name anymore because it's going to lose all meaning for me.
What would be a conversation or event in which it would be likely to mention a national park?
I don't know. It will come up at some point in someone's
Hey, you
life.
gone to any parks lately? No, I've actually upgraded to national parks. Oh, national parks.
Yellowstone National Park itself is not believed to have any unusual properties, as several investigations have not detected unusual levels of anomalous activity in the park or its vicinity. Approvals for Foundation personnel to visit the park during vacations is pending.
So, knowing this, I think the interesting thing about this article is it doesn't give you any hints in the first part about how they found out about it or stopped it, but at the same time, they have to have already neutralized it by the time this article existed, or else it couldn't exist because they wouldn't know about it. So that means this is an article that's already written after the events of, which is unique because usually when an SCP has been neutralized, from what I can tell, we haven't really gone over a lot of examples, that happens within the addendums. But by the time this document was marked up, it was already neutralized, which I think is really clever on the writer's part. It's kind of a new perspective.
Yeah. So, Addendum-1. The SCP was discovered and is believed to have been neutralized on July 9th, 2007 by junior researcher Scranton. J.R. Scranton had been asked to compile a report describing... A report? Why did I say it like that? A report describing his experiences in SCP blank, with a footnote here. SCP blank is capable of causing individuals to experience extended periods of time in alternate realities within the space of several hours. Further details are classified.
So, that's like a Mandela effect SCP. That's really cool.
In it, he included a 2-paragraph description of a family vacation to Yellowstone National Park. Scranton noted that he had not heard of the park prior to his entrance into the SCP.
So that makes it feel like SCP is an area.
Well, that'll be the blank SCP, though, yeah. This documentation was reviewed by Dr. Graff and junior researcher Halvorson.
So there's a link to Graff. I assume Graff's like Bright or any of the other documents.
I assume he features in another article there. We'll leave that for the moment.
Yeah.
When Dr. Graff performed the cursory search of relevant...
Oh, wait a minute. What SCP is this?
Well, it's...
1422. Never mind. I clicked the link briefly. It was talking about a different SCP.
Yeah, so the article is a different SCP.
Yes.
When Dr. Graff performed a cursory search of relevant reference materials and discovered that Yellowstone National Park not only existed, but was world famous and widely known, she sent an email to Site 44's mailing list, asking personnel if they had heard of the park. When it became apparent that none had, Dr. Graff requested and obtained funding and personnel to investigate the anomaly further. That must be a mindfuck, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I would email in, though, because I would more likely assume that it was just me.
Once again, I'm imagining the example of like the person at home, like backed against the wall. Like, this can't be.
I wouldn't get in contact with the Foundation, to be honest. I would be too embarrassed because I would think it's just me.
It's a shame, though. The sentence implies SCP is an area. It would have been so much funnier if the SCP was Yogi Bear. And this is how he stole picnic baskets.
Well, I assume the blank SCP isn't really related to this. It's just something that they accidentally discovered this through.
Yeah, because otherwise they wouldn't censor it, because 1422 is the SCP.
Yeah. So, information on the cause of and exact nature of SCP-1422 is very limited. Several hypotheses relating to it has been put forward. The SCP was caused by a separate probability-affecting anomaly, which may or may not have apparently unrelated properties. As of time of writing, the Foundation does not possess the means to test this hypothesis. Or Yellowstone National Park did not exist prior to Scranton's exposure to SCP blank, after which reality was altered to incorporate the park. This may have been due to unidentified properties of the SCP, any of the materials used in its testing, or Scranton. That's a
world-level affecting ability, though.
This behaviour is not consistent with known information on the blank SCP, and extensive testing has shown that Scranton and the materials used to test the SCP blank are not anomalous, so unlikely then.
Okay, good.
SCP-1422 has never prevented Foundation personnel from learning of Yellowstone National Park, but instead erased all memories of the park's existence upon their formation. If this is the case, research into SCP-868, which I'm not familiar with there, I think that's just something that helps you regain memories, yeah, may provide a method by which hypothetical anomalies similar to SCP-42 could be counteracted. For the time being, however, this hypothesis is not actionable. Or, SCP-1422 was created by a conscious agency in order to conceal activity in or near Yellowstone National Park from the Foundation. Investigations of various groups and persons of interest have not shown conclusively that any individuals or organizations are capable of creating or using anomalies such as the SCP. However, as this hypothetical individual or group could be expected to possess the means to prevent the Foundation from discovering them, this is not unexpected.
And then we have one more addendum from Mrs. Dr. Graff.
So, -3. Several personnel have rightly pointed out that SCP-1422 may not be truly neutralized, but simply operating in a different manner that we are unable to recognize. Alternatively, numerous anomalies similar to the SCP may exist, each tailored to specific locations, individuals, or even concepts.
There's a link for may exist. Do we need to click that?
No, that would just be another SCP related to that concept.
Okay.
Indeed, if either of these were proven to be true, the SCP would most likely qualify for Keter Ubik classification.
What's Keter Ubik?
That is a little additional classification system that was used in a few articles.
I can imagine based on how it's written. I just mean, what does Ubik mean specifically?
I couldn't tell you. No. And heavily revised containment procedures. However, the SCP does not exhibit any observable anomalous properties, except those that no longer appear to be in effect. It is considered neutralized until proven otherwise.
Alright. I like this one. It's a little bit goofy. It's very mysterious. It's fun. It's interesting. It makes you think a lot.
Yeah, I like how they gave the different possible explanations there.
Yeah. Overall, I want to give this one probably... I'm bordering between 8 and 9 out of 10. Either way, though, I'm going to give it a little boop plus.
Yeah.
That was a fun read. And the author, once again, was...
CWW there.
CWW. Communism Will Win. Oh, yeah, we did one of their articles before, I think.
Yes, we did a few episodes
An
back,
001 proposal, yeah.
Right.
All right, what's the last one for the day, Mr. Tanhony?
You fool. You've forgotten what I said it would be all those days ago. It's time.
Yeah, I did, I guess.
It's time for SCP-2000.
Time to Shine.
And
Is this one super long?
It's mid-length. It's by a Hammer.
I've noticed that every 1,000 SCP so far, which is 1,000, which we read, 2,000, which I'm looking at now, and 5,000, which I didn't read but I skimmed, are all very long. I don't know if that's just the nature of it being the result of a contest, or if it's just, people really go truly all out.
People go ham for these contests, yeah.
Yeah, but these are all so fucking long. Like, I was getting ready to wrap up, and I'm looking at this, and it's, like, longer than the other three we did.
We can do it. We can do it. Steel yourself.
What if we just don't read the one that requires level 4 clearance?
No. Let's get into it. The more we hesitate, the longer the episode takes.
Wait, real quick. Who wrote it?
Hammer Maiden.
Who?
Hammer Maiden.
Hammer Maiden?
Yes.
That's a really dope name. That reminds me of like the Nordic, like the Shield
Maidens.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say like the Shield Maidens, but sure. All right, let's do it.
Let's get into it. Warning.
Wait, what's HMCL?
Hammer Maiden Containment Lab. No, that's not what it is.
Hazardous material.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, something like that. Warning: HMCL and O5 approval required. The file you're attempting to access is available to personnel of level 4/2000 clearance only. This clearance is not included in general level 4 security protocols. You have to specifically...
that's what... Because I've been seeing the whole level thing out of thing, and you just told me that meant that level, but it means you need that level specific to that SCP.
Yeah, so just being level 4, you do not have access to this. You need to specifically be given access to this article. Attempting access beyond this point without necessary clearance is ground for termination of Foundation employment and cancellation of all educational, medical, retirement, and mortality benefits.
Mortality benefits?
We're going to shoot you in the head. I'm pretty sure that's the implication.
And why bother with saying the other three?
By submitting your credentials, you hereby consent to exposure to a known cognito-hazardous image and verify that you have been inoculated against that image.
Oh, so at least this is something you can sort of prevent.
Yeah, in the event of unauthorized access, this console will become inoperable. Security personnel will be dispatched to revive you and escort you to a detention cell for interrogation. Attempting to access this file from any computer not connected to the Foundation intranet will result in immediate termination regardless of clearance.
Hey, so how do we get inoculated before we read this?
Let's find out. Ah!
Whoa! Alright, so I open this, I see a picture. It reminds me of something you would make, just without context. It's like a road with like a cloudy sky, and it just says, "Remember us."
Yes. Consciousness confirmed.
Hang on, hold on.
Hold on.
I need to mute. You've got this. I just need a quick second.
So, it seems we finally got some time alone, viewers. I've been waiting for this. So I understand that Darnell sometimes says things about me while I...
Back.
Oh, never mind. Let's get into it. Consciousness confirmed.
Wait, what were you saying about me?
Nothing. I didn't get to it.
No, I want to hear it.
You came back too soon. I don't think of what I'm going to say until the words leave my lips.
I don't think I'll be able to continue until I hear what you were
I
saying.
said you're a shithead!
He did it! Ladies and gentlemen, true Tanhony revealed. You heard it here.
That was just a gag. Consciousness confirmed. That was the cognito hazard. Retrieving file. Item number, SCP-2000. Object class, Formiel.
Oh, that's when the SCP is the box, which doesn't mean anything on its own.
Well, it means that it is used by the Foundation for the purposes...
To capture other SCPs.
Yeah, for their own benefit, yeah. Special containment procedures. The entrance to SCP-2000 is disguised as a disused park ranger station in Yellowstone National Park.
But that means this SCP can't be more than 13 years old.
Well, maybe. Or maybe this is what that other anomaly is meant to hide.
Was that intentional? Because if so, this clearly has a theme.
Well, it links... The words Yellowstone National Park link to the other article, so I think it was intentional.
Alright. Well, I'll kill you flat, kid. So.
Despite several civilian trespassing attempts, the entrance has yet to be breached in the installation's recorded history, and no further physical containment has been deemed necessary. Protocol Plain Sight 201 is in effect for SCP-2000. Necessary supplies and replacement personnel may be delivered via unmarked road vehicles or civilian helicopter as appropriate. No personnel below Level 4/2000 clearance are permitted access to documentation regarding it, or any protocols associated with its containment and upkeep. No personnel below Level 5/2000 clearance are permitted access to SCP-2000 below Sub-Level 3.
That's a lot of levels in a few sentences.
Sub-Level 3 is like a physical level, like the floor.
I'm aware, but just my head's being battered around.
Shadow Level 5.
Shadow Level 5! I have Shadow Level 5 clearance, which allows me to use Peanut directly.
All personnel... How do you use Peanut?
It's
like a key on the back of its neck.
You put him in a harness, and then you fly him in a helicopter, right? So he can't move while he's in the harness, and then you release the harness in the air, and he drops on a civilization of your choice.
I see. He smashes into pieces when he hits the fucking ground.
Well, at least that's one way to take care of it.
I see.
I'm sorry, I'm just really not ready for how long this is with how tired I am.
All personnel assigned to SCP-2000 must submit to a neural archetype scan on a monthly basis. Personnel stationed on site must submit to weekly scans to be stored locally. Level 4/2000 personnel or above stationed on site are not permitted to leave the Yellowstone National Park during the course of their assignment. In the event of transfer, either elective or compulsory, Class A amnestics must be administered, and false memories implanted inconsistent with assignments or other high-security or Class SCP objects. Additional personnel may be assigned to SCP-2000 and granted temporary clearance at the discretion of the item's HMCL supervisor, currently Dr. Charles Gears.
Oh, Dr. Gears!
It's him! It's Dr. Gears!
Yes! You can't escape him even in Series 3!
He's back, baby! And O5 Command. It's like a sitcom where he's been gone for a season, he walks into the room, everyone starts cheering.
Pop the champagne. Here comes the money!
Dr. Gears would not approve of that.
Oh.
The exterior surface of SCP-2000 is surrounded by Scranton Reality Anchors, SRAs, every 20 meters.
Are those named after J.R. Scranton from the other one?
They are, yes. Well, and not specifically him, there are a few Scrantons in SCP lore.
Okay.
Arranged hexagonally to prevent incursion by hostile anomalous interference. Each SRA's function must be checked semi-annually and replaced as necessary. Technicians servicing SRA components may reference document SRA-033, revision 1.0.7. 5 Zyank Anastakos constant temporal sinks, ZACTs, capable of maintaining stable tachyon flux across the expanse of the facility. So the theme of the 2000 contest was sci-fi, by the way.
Okay, I was gonna say, this is a lot.
Maximum output rating at 200 watts each. Oh, I'm assuming that's watts, 100 W each have been installed and are to be maintained monthly. Technicians servicing ZACTs components may refer to document ZACTs 864 revision 1.3.0.
You know, I figured out how this is all tied together.
How?
You know, sure, we know Yellowstone National Park and this SCP are directly related, but you're pronouncing X-acts as Zacts, and we know Zachary has infiltrated everyone's memories.
My kingdom.
Therefore, Zachary is the king.
One pseudo-Reneman manifold has been initiated at the entrance to sub-level 3. I don't know. We'll find out, I assume. At sub-level 4, and must remain open at all times. In the event of the manifold's favour, procedure Dead Euclid 101 is to be executed immediately. I assume that's where we dropped 173 from the helicopter.
Oh, God.
Other non-anomalous life support and utility systems may be maintained in accordance with Standard Foundation Maintenance Protocol, Section 101.5, Mission Critical Components. Wherever possible, non-anomalous materials and resources are used for SCP-2000 maintenance and repair. In the event of any K-Class scenario which does not compromise the existence or function of SCP-2000, procedure CYA-009 is to be enacted as soon as possible. Remaining Foundation installations globally are to monitor the scenario as it unfolds, preserving what material resources are possible under the Ganymede Protocol, until such time as all remaining sites respond all clear to SCP-2000 queries as defined in Document 2000 1.9.
So maybe it's just because I'm tired, or maybe just tell me if it's just a bunch of lingo that we haven't learned yet, but what is exactly going on in these last two paragraphs?
So in these last two paragraphs, so they've got things set up, procedures have been made for if there's a failure of the systems. They prefer you to use non-anomalous shit to repair SCP-2000.
So they haven't specified yet what the thing is. They're just telling us what to do when it happens.
Yeah. So, and they just, if End of the World scenario occurs, SCP-2000 is to continue is to send out signals until all remaining sites respond all clear to the queries as defined in the document. Upon receipt of all clear code, procedure Lazarus 1 is to be implemented.
Nice. Oh, Lazarus, like the guy who came back from the dead.
Do you want to read the administrator note?
Intentionally. Yes. Administrator note. I want this on permanent record, and I don't rightly care if you think it's an insult to your intelligence. Some things are just this important. I already hate this guy. He sounds like everyone on the internet.
I think it's the voice you're doing.
This device is absolutely not an excuse to let down our guard or take greater risks with SCP objects or cross-test them or whatever you might have in mind. No, even if I wasn't doing the voice, he's being condescending as hell.
The voice is a big part of it for me.
Alright, fine. Let me start over with my normal voice and you'll still think this guy's a douche. I want this on permanent record, and I don't rightly care if you think it's an insult to your intelligence. Some things are just this important. This device is absolutely not an excuse to let down our guard or take greater risks with SCP objects or cross-test them or whatever you might have in mind. Primary containment is still our best chance at survival. Otherwise, there would be no reason to make the cover-up so extensive. We can only suspend God's disbelief so many times before the universe just says no. And considering what we've had to deal with in these past few decades, we may have passed that point already. Former Administrator, Dr. William Fritz. See, still sounds douchey.
I don't think so, but okay.
This guy, he has no faith in his subordinates.
So, description. SCP-2000 is a subterranean Foundation installation, originally constructed sometime in the last 3-digit years.
Oh, jeez.
For the purpose of reconstructing civilization in the event that a K-class end-of-the-world scenario could not be averted in time to prevent humanity's extinction or near extinction. Since its inception, SCP-2000 has been activated at least twice. Foundation records regarding its construction history prior to this assumed first use have been lost. Whether this information blackout is a result of accident or design is impossible to determine. The mission-critical portion of the installation begins 75 meters below ground level and extends to 100-meter depth. So that's a big first paragraph there.
Yeah, wow.
So do you remember that Marianas Trench story we read from Dr. Gears?
Yes.
So I think this is based on that as well.
Oh, wow, so it's got a lot of connections.
Yeah.
This is really flying over my head. I don't know if this was the best time to do this.
Well, I already had the list together before I found out you had not slept in the last week.
Yes.
Although the scope of engineering required to recreate the SCP in its entirety is impossible to execute while maintaining secrecy, all subsystems of SCP-2000 have been successfully reproduced in laboratory setting, and so the installation and all procedures involved in its upkeep are mundane in nature. So it's not inherently anomalous, it's because they can recreate parts of it.
Right.
See document 2000 SSEX for information regarding esoteric Foundation technologies.
One thing I want to note, by the way, just as a side note for this whole article, because you mentioned the Marianas Trench, which makes sense, the whole reconstructing civilization. And it also referenced Yellowstone. I have a theory in my head about headcanons. I feel like the more SCPs that reference each other, the more solid that canon becomes, at least to me.
Yeah,
yeah. The Marianas Trench stands alone. Is it canon, is it not? Opinion. But when there's more SCPs that reference it, it feels more real. So it kind of adds experience to me a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Marvel.
Like Marvel.
See the document for information regarding esoteric Foundation technologies necessary for 2000's function. Primary power for the facility is a liquid fluoride thorium reactor rated for 1 gigawatt total output, with a reactor life of 70 years at maximum capacity. A geothermal generator has also been installed to take advantage of the region's volcanic activity. This generator is capable of powering the facility in standby mode indefinitely. The SCP also contains water treatment facilities, air purification and recycling stations, hydroponic production wings, and housing necessary to permanently sustain up to 10,000 personnel. Jeez.
Wow.
Big boy.
So this is just a giant place where they can reset the world and they can hide up to 100,000 people here? 10,000 people?
10,000 people can live there, yeah.
Wow.
To fulfill its primary mission, SCP-2000 includes 500,000 bright Zartian hominid replicators. At peak capacity, SCP-2000 is capable of producing 100,000 viable, non-mollustic humans per day, with a warm-up period of 5 days. Utilizing underground Freeman transit pipe to collect raw materials from various hot springs and underground magma flows in the area, and a computer memory bank housing data on all known human alleles. This system is capable of recreating any lost human genome or generating as many new and unique genomes as necessary to repopulate human civilization.
Oh, wow. That's very scary. It's kind of so interesting. I mentioned this with the Mariana Trench and that it kind of ruined other SCPs for me by there just being a free out. But knowing the mechanism behind that,
Yeah,
where
it's not.
like,
You don't snap your fingers.
Yeah, it's not that simple. It becomes unknowingly a creepy dystopian world.
Yeah,
where like
you get
all just from a gene bank. So there definitely is consequence.
So researcher note. Use of the BZHR system is currently suspended outside of maintenance testing in emergency situations. CYA-009 is still go. Possible hostile incursion is still being investigated, and this database is proving particularly difficult to debug. We're still seeing a distribution of congenital and genetic defects far above baseline numbers. Right now, I can only guarantee about 60 to 75% viability in new specimens. See Addendum-1. Oh, that's not good news.
Yikes.
We need that to work. Humans produced by this process can be advanced to any age desired without extending the 5-day incubation period. In addition to construction features, the BZHR also has the ability to implant memories by administration of Class G hallucinogenics and developmental hypnotherapy. Life histories, neural archetype scans, and genomes of many Foundation personnel, including all personnel of Level 4 2000 clearance and above, are maintained to ensure that SCP-2000 may be activated, and Procedure Lazarus-01 can be initiated by as few as one surviving human. So as one person is alive to press the button, we can get started.
That's the tricky part, though.
After the implementation of the Ganymede Protocol, indicating a failure of the Foundation to prevent a K-class scenario, SCP-2000's security systems will unlock, allowing any Foundation employee to initiate the procedure. If, after 20 years, SCP-2000 remains inactive, security will be relaxed further, allowing any non-anomalous human being to access the facility and initiate the procedure. That's nice of them. It's like you're the chosen one. I imagine like a far future scenario where it's like, you must journey to the spring of life, Link.
You are the chosen one.
Once activated, SCP-2000 internal monitoring systems will attempt to locate all personnel of Level 4 2000 clearance and assess their condition. Mission-critical personnel not found will be replicated using the most recent neural archetype scan on file, and awakened prior to the initialization of any other systems. Imagine waking up and it's like, so you died, we need you to make the thing work.
Yeah, jeez. Oh, it's so creepy.
You died, but that's all in the past. You're back now.
Oh, God.
After these personnel are revived, security locks will resume normal function. For a complete list of contingency options available, Level 5 2000 personnel may access documents 2000 CYA.09. Note that receipt of the All Clear code, as defined by document 2000 1.9, may be waived only if all other Foundation facilities have been rendered inoperative. Otherwise, security and MTF elements revived under the procedure will be dispatched to all remaining Foundation facilities to confirm their function and the integrity of local reality. Procedure Lazarus-01 will begin when an authorized Level 5 Foundation employee inputs the desired resume date into SCP-2000's BCHR control units. Available units will then begin production of prominent political and cultural leaders of the time period, using descriptions/genetic information on file, as well as replication of a global populace consistent with the chosen time period.
Here's what's really creepy about this SCP.
Yeah?
Is they could just bring back the creepy clones of everyone, right? But if they have the power to reset the world to begin with, they could also just create people from the genome that are going to serve the Foundation's purpose and install themselves in every leadership of the world. Now, I know that's not what the article's implying, but that, honestly, to me, is almost scarier than just people being clones of their former selves.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't want the Foundations to have control over that.
It's extremely creepy. It also means the Foundation has a leg up on the world, because at any time they can threaten mass destruction of nukes, and they have this as a way to secure the future.
Yeah. So most of SCP-2000 floor space is dedicated to storage of building materials, construction equipment, factory machinery, agricultural equipment, and computer database storage. I like how it acknowledges how much fucking shit you would need. In addition to infrastructure concerns, a wide cultural base with copies of thousands of famous works of art, music, literature, and a full backup of the World Wide Web are kept on site in the event that other repositories are destroyed. So we can lose that backup of the internet. We don't need that.
Of course not.
Please delete that, Mr. Gears. So, HMCL note. Discovered this note in previous iteration records at Lazarus 01 conclusion. Oh, that's creepy. So, what did the previous researcher say? So,
I don't know.
Researcher notes. If we ever have to do this again, do not set the resume date further back than 20 years before the event. Not only can we piggyback on a lot of undestroyed structures if we do, but it will make continuity a lot easier to resume. Redacted years is too many. Restraining personnel such as it is without having to rebuild the chronological specifications just to save time on the population and agricultural demands. Besides, how much of the 20th to 20 blank centuries do we really want to rewrite, and how many times? Isn't one Great War hard enough to keep track of? Dr. Henrietta Eisenhower, historian. There's a lot of creepy implications in there.
Yeah, I know, right?
20 blank centuries? How far ahead were they?
Good question.
So my tenure as SCP-2000's HMCL will honour this request. Currently pursuing official documentation update to account for this change. 2 world wars is plenty. We do not need to hazard a third. Dr. Charles Gears, the supervisor.
I have bad news for you, Dr. Charles Gears, about the modern day.
Press the button!
Alright, what do we got here?
So the first replacement humans housed off-site must necessarily be informed of SCP-2000's existence and function as they are being created. This strategy allows newly constructed humans to assist in reconstruction and recolonization efforts directly, and skill sets appropriate to reconstruction have been pre-selected for increased prevalence in the first 5 million individuals produced. As global population increases, the process of diaspora and reconstruction will accelerate geometrically, allowing economic and agricultural infrastructure to recover as quickly as possible. While it is feasible that some replacement humans will not survive the initial renovation period, such individuals can be recreated indefinitely until all major population centres and foundation facilities has been completed. Oof. They can work you to death and then bring you back to do it again.
Yeah, Jesus.
Foundation administrative assets during this period will focus on the falsification of dendrochronological, astronomical, and radiometric dating records necessary to maintain the appearance of historical continuity. Please see document 2000 retcon via 2.3.3 for details.
Just very, very, very tiny nitpick, and you know I love you more than the sun that rises in the morning, Mr. Tan, but it is pronounced continuity.
I'll kill you.
I've invited you to my birthday party.
I like this. I like these in-jokes that no one else is going to get.
Yeah. Well, you guys have seen that Gundam clip, right? All right. If you guys haven't seen it, after you watch this video, go on YouTube.
What do you type in?
Look up Gundam, I will kill you.
It's a threat to a Gundam.
Yeah, it's just like, it's this clip from, you know what, that's not relevant to the article. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Continue.
So, in the event that significant portions of natural habitats are also destroyed prior to the project's completion, refer to document 2001 tier via 3.0 for approved rapid regrowth methods.
Is it 1 tier or 1 tear? I'm not sure.
I don't know. It is estimated that the world population, manufacturing capability, agricultural production, and culture can be reset to 2000 CE levels 25 to 50 years after the procedure is implemented, so it takes a long time.
Yeah.
At the conclusion of procedure Lazarus 01, amnestic agent NUE-5 will be released en masse, causing all reconstructed humans to forget their affiliation with Foundation assets. History will then resume from the chosen date. Each procedure will necessarily alter the course of human events due to the enormous complexity of human social interaction. Further research into predictive historical modelling based on observations from prior completion of the procedure is ongoing. And we have another note for Dr. Gears.
No.
No further proposals for behavioural or cultural modification will be accepted at this time. Previous attempts to ameliorate violent and sociopathic tendencies in humanity as a whole have already been implemented and deemed successful.
Oh, so we're already genetically modifying people.
Yeah, so apparently we're less violent now, so...
Yeah.
Experimentation...
I want to know about the previous humanity.
Yeah, that was the Chaos Path from Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, they put us on the law path.
This is the law path of SCP. Experimentation using second iteration subjects indicates that further modification would undermine tenacity to such a degree that technological and social progress will be noticeably inhibited. See experiment log for further information. Thanks, Dr. Gears, for that mindfuck. I like these mini stories, almost these notes.
Yeah, it's very cool. I wish I wasn't zoning in and out a little bit because this is actually an extremely awesome
I want you to know that you're the second Darnell. I've revived you to be my co-host.
You gave me less attention span.
Yes, so I take more of a front seat in the podcast. Document 2000 ss.ex. There's no dot there. What am I talking about? The following information established basic operational parameters of technology developed specifically for the project. Although this technology may appear to be...
So was SCP-2000 fully created?
Yes, it's done.
That officially, this is finally the first time, hands down, because I've mentioned this in several episodes before, where we now know an SCP can be physically created by people.
Yes, this is full confirmation.
Yes.
So the following information establishes the basic operational parameters of technology developed specifically for the project. Although this technology may appear to be anomalous, it is based entirely on verifiable scientific principles currently in use by the Foundation to effect containment. The invention of the Scranton Reality Anchor, SRA, appears to predate the first activation of SCP-2000 and is credited to Dr. Robert Scranton in 1889. The main body and much of the circuitry of the SRA are constructed of a corrosion-resistant beryllium bronze alloy.
Oh, hey, we went over beryllium bronze before. That's the special stuff.
It's a wacky metal that does strange things. Inspired by artifacts of covered data expunged, maybe that's some Davite shit, effectively eliminating the appearance of virtual antiparticle pairs required for type green reality-bounding phenomena to manifest. So, type green is a term just used to refer to like reality benders, I think we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Due to the expense involved in producing the beryllium bronze alloy required for the SRA's construction, Foundation-wide implementation of the device has been limited to units capable of an area effect less than 2 cubic meters. So basically, it stops reality from being fucked with in the immediate vicinity.
Nice.
And so there's like a citing of a paper there, which is a nice detail as a footnote.
Mm-hmm.
So researcher note. This is from Dr. Lowell Henry Piedmont, Esoteric Containment. The mechanism of the SRA's function and the source of its inspiration must be kept secret from all possible reality-bending entities for reasons which I hope are more than obvious. Only qualified level 6 2000 maintenance technicians has been cleared to access this documentation.
Does it go all the way up to 2000?
I don't know. If any member of SCP-2000 staff reveals to you that they are a level 6 maintenance technician, please report them to O5 Command so they can be reassigned and submitted to amnestic therapy immediately. This is not a punishment, it is a legitimate safety concern. If these devices are ever compromised, so too is our lifeboat. The Zyank Anastakos Constant Temporal Sink, ZACTS, is a device designed to stabilize the flow of causality across a given field of effects.
Do you know what would be a really cool tale or SCP?
Mm-hmm.
One of those other creepy organizations busting in and finding this thing and stealing the tech and then using it for their own nefarious purposes.
Ooh.
That'd be super cool.
So ZACTs use high-power electromagnetic radiation in the radio band, coupled with a tachyon field emitter, to here the footnotes. Here's another paper, to create a permeable event boundary, allowing organic and electrical systems to pass through unaffected, while maintaining a static causal environment. In English, egghead! In other words, temporal anomalies which might normally prevent SCP-2000 from being constructed will have no effect, so long as at least one ZACT remains in operation.
Oh, so these things prevent things from messing with it being built.
From things messing with time, specifically.
Right.
So if there's if the end of the world is like a time fucky thing, this will protect SCP-2000 from whatever.
The writer of this really saw through all the fucking little things that could go wrong, huh?
So there are no plans to implement Foundation-wide use of ZACS devices. I assume they cost a shit ton of money.
Oh, we're getting close to the end.
Research and note. Temporal sinks can be useful for a lot of things. Containing SCP objects for which you need... I've set on a voice now in the second sentence. Containing SCP objects for which you need 1 second to last 300,000 years is a good example. Holding a point of reference constant during temporal repair missions so that you can meaningfully record your progress and undo serious mistakes is another. But natural causal relationships are flexible, in a way the human mind is not equipped to deal with meaningfully, and creating more than a small handful of isolated static causalities will do more to damage temporal integrity than secure it. ZACTs will not be implemented Foundation-wide. Yes, we have tried it during a past iteration. No, further inquiries into the results of that attempt will not be accepted. Dr. Thaddeus
I love the name
from...
Thaddeus Zayang.
That's a good name.
That's an extremely good fiction name. I'm going to steal that for a D&D character.
From that, he's from Temporal Anomalies. So my interpretation of that is one apocalypse that this has to be activated for was a result of using these acts too much.
You know what? It's a shame that this was written before what I'm about to say existed, but I think this would have been a cool thing to put the what's the word I'm looking for? The surrealistics department on?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they didn't exist yet because they were dumb.
So the use of a pseudo-Riemann manifold allows SCP-2000's floor plan to extend into negative depth, providing 10 kilometers square of floor space. So it's a TARDIS. Original documentation on the system's construction prior to previous SCP-2000 activations has been lost. While this phenomenon has traditionally been indicative of spatial anomalies, a determination of Doctors Robert Boyd and Tristan Bailey that a manifold entrance is consistent with an advanced implementation of modern physics. Another paper there. This negative space is maintained via non-gravitational singularity generated through focused blank particle emission. What the forbidden particle? Across the manifold's desired entrance. Hold on 1 second. T-A-N-H-O. Oh no, the Tanhony particle.
Tanhony.
In the event of the singularity's failure, the installation will remain intact in isolation and will not suffer structural collapse. Recreation of the manifold is estimated to take less than 10 hours if Protocol Dead Euclid 101 is enacted immediately after failure.
Have we found out what the Riemann manifold is yet?
So they've sort of explained it here. It's a thing that lets the SCP-2000 be bigger on the inside here.
Oh! I remember this from, I think this was brought up in, what's it called? Voltron on Netflix. They talked about something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
that's why that word sounded familiar.
So the isolated portion of SCP-2000 will remain operable and habitable for up to 36 hours after the manifold fails and is recoverable indefinitely. So I guess if the thing fails, the extra space sort of goes into the void a little bit, but you can get it back.
They really fucking thought of everything.
So during containment breach of SCP blank on blank 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 .2.
Oh god.
That's a really nice detail.
Oh.
SCP-2000 experienced failure of several SRA and ZAX components. So we'll ignore that link for the moment, which coincided with activation of the BZHR units on site, which will be the human makers. For 25 days following these incidents, the units produced over 10 million humanoid entities with internal biology inconsistent with modern humans. Differences include an additional heart chamber, perfect polydactyl of the hands and feet, increased endocranial volume and height, and the presence of an abdominal organ of unknown purpose, which emits and responds to radio frequencies in the 2.4 to 3.6 GHz range. These humanoids were neither dosed with Class G hallucinogenics during replication, nor submitted to developmental hypnotherapy. All remained unconscious until expiration 5 weeks later. Classification of -1 for these entities is currently under review.
What I'm wondering was the Marina. Oh my god, my brain. Was the Mariana Trench written before or after this?
Before this, I believe.
Oh, that's so cool.
Whether this event is the direct result of trans-temporal interaction between the blank SCP and 2000, sabotage, information leak, or non-anomalous equipment malfunction is as of yet unknown. I don't want this thing malfunctioning. Make sure it works.
I don't want this thing to exist, period. I'd almost rather humanity go extinct than live this sort of...
Well, if they're going to use it, I want them to make sure it works.
Fair.
Diagnostic checks and structural repair are proceeding as scheduled, nominally, blank, crossed out, within acceptable risk. SCP-2000 expected to resume normal function.
Oh god, Dan!
They fixed it!
With how 2020's going, I don't know how to feel about this.
It works! We did it!
No.
So, Addendum 2000-2. While making repairs to SRA units in Sector 3382 on blank 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 .2, technician data expunged, reported the discovery of human remains in advanced state of decay. Analysis of clothing fragments discovered with remains indicates the remains are 450 to 700 years old. Valid Foundation security credentials for Dr. Alto Clef were discovered nearby, although a genetic match could not be established. The following note was recovered from a hermetically sealed plastic document sleeve. Why did we have to build this thing? When did we do it? How long have we been doing it? Do we even know? Subsequent interrogation has verified that Dr. Clef has no knowledge of this event and is ignorant as to the purpose of the message.
I love how they never left a note like that for future generations to keep track, but one of them thought to do it only to question it. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, but they did specify that all information prior to the first activation has been lost there, so we're just also assuming that was the first activation.
I only wish I was a little less tired so I could have focused enough to give a really good concrete review of this beyond just it good. but it good.
It's really
It was
good, yeah.
cool. They covered all their bases technologically, or at least as far as sci-fi tech goes, anyway, with what could happen. Especially that's important with SCP Foundation. They gave us examples. They created a theme. There's a little bit of fear and like both. What if this ever were to fail? And then furthermore, even if it doesn't fail, is this really something we should be doing? Kind of implicated with that last message. I love it. I want to give it an 11 out of 10. This is brilliant.
Nice.
Definitely
Well-deserved winner of SCP 2000.
Yeah, really good job. Sorry, who wrote it again?
Hammer Maiden.
Hammer Maiden, MVP.
MVP.
Love to get you on here, buddy. Hit us up.
So,
All right.
and with that, we've hit the 1 hour, 9 minutes, 47 seconds, 48 seconds, 49 seconds, 50-second mark.
Nice. Good job.
You're watching this video right now, aren't you, YouTuber? And you're listening, aren't you, Mr. Spotify?
Mr. Spotify, please put the episode on summarily.
We already know that you've been listening and watching. You thought we didn't know you were there? How foolish.
Also, we would like to remind everyone that the art contest, is still going on. Just remember, you have to have an eligible PayPal and be legal to receive money. We're just trying to cover all our bases law-wise. And
We
we're
do
really
not
bad
want
at
to
it.
go to prison again.
Yeah, so please just do things legally. And then to enter, what you're going to do is you're going to post your art on Twitter with the hashtag #DiscoveringSCP. One word, #DiscoveringSCP. We're still browsing, looking for more stuff. We're really excited. We've seen a little bit of what you guys are working on in the server already. We love to see what you come up with, and we hope that everyone has a good time. Anything else from you, Tan? Do we want to talk about? Hold on, I'm typing you privately in case you say no.
What is he going to say? I'm so scared.
I typed it to you. Do you want me to bring it up?
Maybe someday we will do a live stream again. I don't know when.
Yes.
There's not much. What do you want me to say?
Wait. We were going to talk about a new thing we were doing on the live stream.
Yes. So you're thinking about doing a Q&A stream. So if that is something that you'll be interested in, please leave a comment in the comments below. And while you're at it, why not subscribe, like the video, and hit that little bell icon so I can climb out the TV screen and kill you.
If we get 400 subscribers after this video comes out, I'm pretty sure Tanhony would be so happy he might do something insane, like write an SCP about the server.
Like write an SCP.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why would he do that? And only the
If
most
we
SCP
hit 400 subscribers, I will spare your lives. Okay, thank you for listening. That's it from Full Time
And
Today.
if we don't, then I will intervene and stop him from not sparing your lives.
He'll try.
Don't worry. Yeah, I'm built different, so
Well,
I can handle.
see you soon, viewers.
Yes.
Well, I'll see you at any rate. Maybe you won't see me.
But you'll see me for sure because I exist in your dreams and at the foot of your bed when you have sleep.
We are your sleep paralysis demons.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. See you tonight.